Yeah, awesome day, guys. Super awesome. We new all-time high. I think we went up to like 0.85 for a moment there earlier. Right when I was like going to bed, I saw that way early in the morning. Super excited, guys. Please don't request. Well, for the first part of the space, just because we're just gonna talk about Neko for a while, and then we'll bring on some people to talk and ask their questions about Neko. But yeah, we want to cover everything about Neko. I know a lot of people are excited about the airdrop. We're super excited. 11% of the supply to Hypio community is fucking based. And yeah, I've gotten to learn about Neko myself, so I'm really excited to share, what the project's about. And I think it's going to be one of the more interesting projects on Hyperliquid coming up.
100%. Let's cook. I'll
Yeah,
just run over.
crystal clear, bro. You're good now.
All right, cool.
So we choose rardedd. Rardedd is you're basically the main dev for Neko, right?
Yeah. Rardedd or Ali. I'm the CEO of Neko and Omo, and I have a team of 7 other engineers working on Neko too.
Awesome. So yeah, why don't we just start right into it about Neko itself, and then we'll get into other stuff and why you're doing the airdrop and who else you're airdropping to and all the other stuff, and why should people be excited about Neko? So on the first level, the obvious question: what is Neko? What are we doing with Neko here?
Yeah, to put it simply, you can kind of conceptualize Neko as an AI version of Moonshot, and using agents, you can actually do more products beyond just on-ramping and trading meme coins. So this can involve like adding liquidity to AMMs, Felix or Hyperlend, agentic vault structure products as well, etc. So a lot more advanced capacity that Moonshot could ever do, but there are 2 core objectives we're looking to do with Neko. Objective 1 is to increase the distribution of Hyperliquid and HyperEVM products to a broader user base. It's kind of Hyperliquid's kind of in its own echo bubble right now with its user base currently. Not to say that's a bad thing, right? But we want to distribute Hyperliquid to more users. And objective 2 is to actually accelerate the development of the HyperEVM DeFi ecosystem using AI agents on the back end.
Awesome. So I think when a lot of people saw Neko and the branding and everything at first, they're like, is it a meme coin or whatever? Like the branding is super sharp, but I think the idea itself is a fun idea as a meme coin. How do you view it as a coin? Like clearly you have a lot of stuff going on the back end that you're working on. And I know that you've been working on and cooking. Do you view it as like kind of like a hybrid meme coin AI agent play, or how do you see it, especially in the wake of all these other AI agent stuff that we've seen?
Yeah, for sure. When you look at all the different AI agent tokens, you have things like ARC, AI16Z, virtuals, agent specific tokens like AXBT, etc. A lot of them outside of like virtuals and ARC have figured out like an effective token accrual value mechanism. And whenever you're going to be using the agent, we're going to be taking some form of a BIPs premium, right? So whether you're using, natural language to do intents on PVP trade, Hyperliquid, or depositing, we're drawing out of these agentic vault products, we're going to be taking a management fee, right? And with all these fees that we generate, we're actually going to be doing token buybacks and burns on the Neko token itself. So that's how we'll actually execute some form of value accrual on the Neko token itself. So, I mean, I would say that you could kind of conceptualize it more like, Rollbit, right? Because Rollbit does like a lot of token buybacks and burns for their own token with the revenue that they generate from the casino. So something akin to that. And then, AI narrative. I mean, like it's not really like AI narrative is a thing, right? But this is we're a real AI team. All my engineers are Web3 and AI native.
Awesome. So I know some people definitely know what vaults are, and agentic vault might be a new thing. My understanding is basically an AI agent is running a vault. The vault typically is some sort of yield farming thing. They're trying to move around your money in a way that's efficient for you, in a way that AI, for example, can be on all the time and taking advantage of arbing yield opportunities on different chains or whatever. How would you describe the agentic vault farming thing? Maybe to somebody who's like literally retarded.
Yeah, no, for sure. So for someone that's retarded, right? Like me, basically, one of our core partners for the Vault architecture is going to be Nucleus. Nucleus is essentially created like the smart contract architecture for different asset managers, this is essentially just someone that manages the money within a vault, right? So using Nucleus's architecture, right? So instead of like an asset manager, like a human doing it, we're just going to replace it with an agent, right? And this agent is going to have, deep reasoning capacity because we're going to be using a more advanced model like DeepSeek. Hopefully
Nice.
that makes it simple.
Yeah, I think it makes it simple. So basically, people put in their money, and then the AI agent is taking advantage of opportunities for you, and you just get the yield. That's the idea. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. One thing I want to double click on in terms of like the agentic vault, is that as you increase the tool suite of what this agent can interact with, in terms of like function calling of like what protocols it can interface with, it becomes exponentially more advanced for like how it can actually optimize the yield and risk manage effectively. And this is why AI exists, right? Because someone like Taran, right? He has like context or like knowledge about like what makes a good yield opportunity, what is good risk management, right? But he's not awake 24/7. He doesn't have like the constant contextual information of like the DeFi protocols being fed into his brain in real time, right? That's where AI becomes valuable over like a human in terms of managing capital.
Yeah, I think for me, like what I think is so interesting about it is the kind of contrast from everybody who was paying attention to sort of AI 16Z, which had this swarm, not to use the word swarm because swarm is like an AI keyword, but just a group of ChatGPT wrappers that were basically just spamming the timeline with like just garbage. And like that's not where AI is interesting at all. You know what I mean? AI gets interesting. I think AI XBT, like you mentioned, is a great example of the sort of a first level where it's like analyzing data. That stuff our project is super interested in as well. So that's why I think the Neko stuff was such an interesting collab for us. Actually combining AI with these always on decentralized permissionless capital markets basically, and like let it cook. You know what I mean? Let it learn and let it cook. And like this, we're still such at this like primitive stage of it. I'm sure you feel the same way. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think in terms of like what are the best agents on the market, not agent frameworks, right? AI16Z is a framework, Arc is a framework, Virtuals is a launch pad. Um, the best agents in the market, I would say, is probably AXBT. The cookie.fun agent is also pretty solid in terms of data analysis. We'll see how good Ask Jimmy is from the Arc team, but Ask Jimmy seems pretty interesting. Um, when it comes to DeFi AI, right, I think a lot of people are looking at it the wrong way. Sure, using natural language to obfuscate or like hide the intents behind like, Web3 UX is a correct thesis. I mean, I've thought about this for a long time already, but a lot of people aren't thinking about how agents can actually accelerate the development of like a DeFi ecosystem, whether it's minting more LSTs, minting more FEUSD in the context of HyperEVM, executing arbitrage between the Hyperliquid L1 and the AMM for these tokens that are on like the L1 itself, right, for spot listing, but also want to have liquidity on the EVM, or doing AMM to AMM arbitrage. There's a lot of opportunities where agents can actually fill the gap and make markets more capital efficient.
Absolutely. So as we were doing your intro, you're talking about you're the CEO of Omo as well. What's the relationship between Neko and Omo? And what is Omo?
Yeah, for sure. So the relationship between Neko and Omo is that Neko is our first product under the Omo brand. Omo is it's definitely a bit more complicated than Neko. But to put it simply, right, what we want to do is we want to streamline the development of complex social and utility agents to not just developers but users. There's a thing called PyTorch. PyTorch is a very popular, ML AI framework, or not framework, but library in the 2010s, and they accelerate the, research as well as productization of machine learning models. We essentially want to create the PyTorch, but for Web3 on-chain AI agents, and we want to create our own fine-tuned models to, our own SDK. We're going to call it Omo SDK. So then, like, Hypios like yourself that like have no technical background can actually create agents that are advanced, right? Not like this garbage that you see with like, Vapor, or like Waifu and Solana, where like it's just like forking like Eliza and changing the character file, and it's a slot bot, right? We actually want to facilitate advanced complex utility based off of the own user's intent. And then like in Q1, Q2 for Omo, we're doing agents as a service. So essentially creating agents for different teams and protocols based off of their own proprietary needs. We already have like a couple like top tier partners lined up. I just can't disclose it out of respect for them. And then Neko is just like a agent under our own brand as well to showcase that like we're real agent builders. We know how to build a product. And then like later on, we want to build our own infra and have like a resume of like why, we know what we're talking about and why you should use our infrastructure.
Absolutely. I think one of the ways, like I know that you're sincerely Hypio, just the way that you talk about other stuff in the space and don't sugarcoat it, which I love, and we love. We love people to speak openly and not, I don't have to go into it anymore. As far as, so basically the way you're saying is Omo is the AI infra side of it, and Neko is the first product, proof of the product. Okay. Yeah, so about you, we're talking about the team behind Neko being pretty substantial. Do you want to talk about who's on the team and all that?
Yeah, no, for sure. So my CTO, I met him in Bangkok. He's been doing, he sold a fintech company in Thailand that was like doing fintech and machine learning in like his 20s. And then I have like one founding engineer that's been with me since the start of building Omo back in like 2023. And then I have two ML engineers. One was more on the quant side. One's more on the research side. The research guy's about to get his PhD. And then I have two like 19, 20-year-olds from India, right? I poached them. And like they're cracked as fuck. They love using Rust. They love doing machine learning, AI, all that shit, right? So we're pretty and then like there's one more engineer I met in Bangkok as well. He's probably like one of the best like AI-16Z agent developers I've been working with. So yeah, that's kind of like how the team is built. Like we have a lot of experience building agents. I've been building agents for a while. And now I have, some machine learning guys that can actually build out like solid proprietary models, for Neko and Omo in the future.
That's awesome. One thing you and I hadn't actually talked about, I think, but was I believe you guys are one of the fastest coins to bond off H fund ever, if I'm correct. You want to talk about the H fund and how fast that went? Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know if it was like the fast. I think it might have been the fastest post hype TGE, but pre hype TGE, not sure, right? We bonded in like 20 minutes. I have like a lot of solid connections with like a lot of like good whales within the space. Don't want to disclose all of them, but like, Control, helped me with the launch as well for Neko on H Pump as well. So yeah. I mean, I have a decent network.
Word. So Neko, when it drops, I guess we can talk about that part now. Briefly. Everybody wants to know when the spot listing is going to be. I know it's tricky and you got to figure out when to do it. Do you have anything about that?
Yeah. We're still cooking a bit more on the agent side of things as well as the marketing. So, probably give us a couple weeks. Can't like give an exact date, but I guess we'll never know until it's done.
Yeah. And then the other question that, everybody wants to know is has the snapshot been taken, etc.? What's your comment on that?
Cannot disclose.
Okay. So hopefully you're a long time IPO, just don't worry about it. And if not, better luck next time. If it has or if it hasn't, and it is what it is, just be happy with what you get. On the airdrop thing, I guess is where I talk about briefly, and then I want to talk more about Neko. Some people want to know if there's going to be multipliers for different traits or how you're doing the NFT airdrop itself.
Yeah, for sure. So how we're doing the NFT airdrop is going to be on a per like Hypio basis. I've seen a lot of comments from the community that get really upset about like a per wallet basis, and we just kind of want to give the people what they want. So, you don't need to split wallets. I've done it before. It's fucking annoying. It's good for OPSEC, right? But beyond that, right, you just kind of want to get all your allocation into a single wallet, ideally. And in terms of traits, I mean, Neko means cat in Japanese. We like cats. And like for a bit of context around me, right? I'm Pakistani, right? I was born and raised a Muslim, so we do like niqabios.
Okay. So there's your maybe alpha. We'll see. As far as Neko itself, so Neko is going to drop at some point. We know that. When it drops, what can the user expect to be doing and interacting with Neko, and maybe their tokens or whatever on day one, as far as what you can tell.
Yeah, no, for sure. So in terms of day one, what we're aiming to have, I'll leak a bit more alpha than I should, but there's a thing called iframe, right? So iframe are essentially like frames or blinks on X itself. And what we're gonna do is the user will have to sign a message a single time, right? And that'll basically authorize the wallet to have agents infinitely sign and approve transactions on behalf for you, right? So whenever you at the Neko, you say like at Neko underscore HL and you say G Neko, it's gonna populate like a little link that you can click on the client side, right? And once you click it, it'll basically populate like a bunch of different dApps you can interface with, right? And then whether it's HPump, which is like on like some off-chain DB, or once HyperEVM is live, it could be Hyperlend, Hyperswap, or all like the different curated vaults that we're building out internally with the Nucleus guys. You'll basically be able to interact with those. And after you sign like this auth approval message once, you'll never need to sign a message again. Cause that's like the whole value proposition of like agents. One of the core ones is reducing the overhead in terms of clicking, right? Because like it's really bad UX if we actually want to, distribute these products to a broader user base. And that's kind of like one of the core reasons why agents have taken off so much, like DeFi AI, right? People talk about like the UX improvement. The natural language stuff, there is potential capacity of exploitation via like very smart prompt engineers. So I don't necessarily agree with that approach 100% of the time. There is merit to it. But if you actually facilitate agentic intents or agentic workflows within guardrails, then you can actually get the same output or same outcome with significantly higher security and certainty.
Awesome. So actually, one of our listeners just tweeted at me, and it kind of dovetails with what I was going to ask next, which is they were asking, when's Hyperliquid mobile wallet? I feel like Neko could accomplish this, and you have to answer that. My question is kind of dovetailing with that, which is, so Neko is going to be able to engage with the chain, especially Hyperliquid. Is it going to be a situation where, like, let's say I load up Neko, whether it's, I'm going to assume on Telegram or wherever it's going to be, and maybe you can clarify that. And I say, like, hey, Neko, buy like 500 Neko coin or buy 500 Bitcoin or buy 500, you know what I mean? And is there going to be like a wallet tied to that for me? And then it could just take my language and buy it? Or how do you see people interacting within that level?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in terms of like Hyperliquid wallet, we're looking to build out Neko Chat as well, which is going to be like a natural language processing interface, kind of like an NLP is like what like ChatGPT or Claude or like Perplexity is, like where you just like put in like natural language and then it executes intents for you. Something we're definitely thinking about, right? But I think like a bigger TAM is actually doing it through like iMessage or WhatsApp for intents, not just Telegram or like creating your own proprietary app. So that's something we're thinking about.
Okay, no. Yeah, I guess kind of on that, you kind of touched on a little bit, but what do you think the main problem that goes looking to solve for the average end user?
Yeah, no, for sure. So for the average end user, there's two core problems, right? Problem number one is that it's hard to get access to Hyperliquid and HyperEVM. I mean, HyperEVM's not live right now, right? But Hyperliquid's like a bit of a bubble, right? I mean, if you look at HL and HL Spot, it's kind of like the same people just like selling tokens to each other. So one thing we want to solve is actually get like a net flow of new liquidity and users onto Hyperliquid from whichever chain or virtual machine they prefer to be on, right? Like, tapping into the Solana ecosystem, Sui ecosystem, obviously EVM. I think like getting users onto HyperEVM from EVM is not going to be that big of an issue once they have like, layer 0 integrated. And then people don't know how to operate like as an optimal user, right? People don't know how to yield farm effectively or risk manage. So that's where you can just delegate your capital to an agent to do that for you.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's one of the best questions you can ask projects. It's like, why does this need to exist? You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of projects, struggle to find adequate answer to that. And in Echo's case, there's multi modes to what it could be used for multiple different kind of people. Yeah, I guess my last big question would be, we talked about Nucleus a little bit, and Nucleus's kind of role in the vaults and all that. You want to talk a little bit more about Nucleus and all that?
Yeah, no, for sure. So, Nucleus is a really solid team. I've been speaking to them regarding like OMO and like AI Volts since like 2023. So like a while back, like when they were just Ion Protocol, right? So it's awesome that we can actually start to cook together. It's been a long time in the works. Um, just to explain like their Volt architecture a bit more, essentially what you have is you have like this ERC 20 volt called a boring volt standard, right? I'm not going to get too technical, but like within this boring volt standard, they have these things called microservices, and that's just essentially like function calling, right? So instead of an asset manager, like basically adjusting the parameters of like what functions are called or hit when it's managing the capital, it's going to be a Neko architect agent, right? We call it an architect agent because with deep reasoning or these chain of thought models, they actually can make better decisions when you give it an expanded suite of tools, right? So when you give it like 5+ different microservices or 5+ different function calls, it can interact with different protocols. That's where it's an actual value proposition to use like a chain of thought model like DeepSeek R170 bill from Llama, or distill from Llama, the 70 bill parameter, or using like Quen, for example. That's like another open source Chinese model, right? But the actual like function calling is going to be done via Neko bots, and Neko bots are essentially just Rust scripts, right? Because I don't want to dive too deep into this, right? But like when people talk about like AI coding, right? There's called like the architect mode and then the executor mode, right? And then both of them use like generative AI, right? So the generative AI for the architect mode kind of creates the system or structure of your entire code base. And then the executor agent, or like the executor model, basically generates that code for you. Well, in the context of Neko, right, we're not generating new smart contract functions to call. We're calling pre-existing ones, and we're just filling out parameters based off of the user's intent, right? So it makes more sense to use a Rust script or a Neko bot in this case versus another agent, because the difference between a bot and agent is quite small, right? The super easy way to define what an AI agent is, it's that it's a bot with reasoning capacity. And this reasoning capacity is derived from like the actual base LLM it's calling inference from. And the trade-off you do for this reasoning is that you have higher latency, right? So with this higher latency, you're going to get more reasoning, right? But if you want to execute fast on like a high throughput chain that has, 200K TPS, 2-second block time, you're going to want to have as low latency as possible in 24/7 hour financial markets. So that's kind of a bit of an expansion on top of like the agentic vault architecture.
Awesome. I feel like we basically covered the base. Usually about halfway through, we kind of devolve it into a more casual space where you're just hanging. We'll bring up some people to talk and about crypto and talk about news, Trump, and talk about AI, whatever, man. So yeah, if you're somebody who wants to speak and you're, like, let's not devolve this into like, Hypio madness, but let's have some fun and some good discussion like we normally do. Yeah, if you're somebody who wants to come talk, feel free to join. I guess since we've been talking about AI, one of the new things is DeepSeek. I'd be interested to see, like, we've been messing around with DeepSeek. We're fine tuning a model of our own, actually. I'd love to hear what you think about DeepSeek and what you've been doing with it, if you haven't.
Yeah, for sure. I think DeepSeek has changed the timeline for AI significantly. I think we're going to look back on it as like one of the core moments for AI in general. It's essentially started like the entire LLM war, where, OpenAI like dropped like, 4 different products immediately after DeepSeek, essentially. DeepSeek, it's a bit of a black box on like how many GPUs they have and how much money they used for training. But it is true that they created a better approach in training models and fine tuning models, right? So that's something you can't take away from them. And that's something that they've made open source that like not only you guys are using, but we're also going to be using as well. We've been studying DeepSeek heavily in terms of how, you know, they fine tune via GRPO, as well as like the actual data set, and like how they actually curated their data set to fine tune said model. So I think DeepSeek has been a massive W for the AI space, the open source AI space, right? And it just showcases and validates the thesis that I've had for Omo and Neko as well for a long time. And it's just that the moat isn't the LLM itself. The moat is the actual application. And how an application actually gets a moat is community. And this is one reason why we airdrop so much of the supply of Neko to like a wide group of users, not just Hypio, right? We're airdropping to more users this week. You guys will find out pretty soon. But you know, we airdrop to, you know, stakers on Hyperco. We airdrop to you know, cap all holders. Gonna airdrop to 3 more parties that we'll announce this week. And the main reason why we're doing that is because if you don't have community behind your back, then no one is going to use your product.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. For me, I use Claude a lot. I think I just haven't switched to DeepSeek for like daily use because I'm just used to it. The same way, like I think a lot of people are stuck on ChatGPT. What do you use personally if you use kind of one of those front ends?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think DeepSeek is better than, I think DeepSeek is on parity with Claude in some niches, right? But I think Claude is still better at coding. And then O3 Mini High, O1 Pro Deep Research is better than DeepSeek R1. But the reason why DeepSeek is attractive is because it's 25x cheaper than any API call you can do from OpenAI or Anthropic. So that allows you to scale your compute a lot more effectively if you just want to keep spamming models to just like build with AI, whether it's like an agent itself, like an application, or you just want to do generative AI coding. So DeepSeek is one of the most efficient, if not, I wouldn't say it's not the most efficient model. But for how large it is, the 671 build parameter model, like when you compare it to like Llama, I mean, like you could install Llama 405 billion locally, but like not everyone has like the actual hardware to do that. But I would say like that large of a model is like the most compute efficient model on the market right now, if you want to tap into that level of intelligence.
Yeah, yeah. Have you used Cursor?
Yeah. I've been using Cursor since like 2023. Yeah, super early. Super early to Cursor. Been using Zed a lot. Been using Trey AI. All these different AI coding IDEs. Depends on like what tools you really want, right? But I kind of see like using new AI tools the same thing as using the latest models. If you just familiarize yourself with like these different new LLM or AI tools, you're gonna have an edge in the market in general, right? Because like I don't just use like, you know, these. I'll drop a bit of alpha. But I don't know if Guthix does. I don't know if Guthix does product.pvp, but I use, you know, generative. I use coding IDEs for actually doing product management docs. And I basically like import the documentation of like specific pages from like different docs and protocols. Then I actually at the agent or at the model, right? And I actually have it generate PRDs for me. That's actually quite advanced. That actually gives like a base implementation for my team. All the top like, AI people, both in like Web 2. I wouldn't even say there's only like one team I know that's actually doing like really good prompt engineering in Web 3. But in Web 2 AI, all these people use prompt engineering in literally everything they do, and they use prompt engineering to create their PRDs as well.
Yeah, no, dude, when I found Cursor, I was like, bro, this is crazy. And it's just like, I spent like a week just messing around with code. I'm not even really a coder. Like, I just know the basics, but it was like, geez, Christ, like where this is going to go is just so insane. And it's super exciting about AI. How do you feel about like the market in general? I mean, I guess related to DeepSeek, we had like the DeepSeek scared everybody in NVIDIA and it seemed like everybody. And then in general, the market's been weird and rough. Not for hype, to be honest, but for everything else. And what's your thought on that and maybe Hyperliquid and stuff?
Yeah, I think the DeepSeek crash was overblown, honestly. I think most of the crash that we've seen recently has been like the value extractive memes from Melania and Libra recently. I think that's what's been depressing markets more so than like, the DeepSeek stuff. I think like if you sold your bags because of DeepSeek, then you're retarded, respectfully. it's only bullish for Web3, right? Like, it's as simple as changing a single line of code for agent teams to change their model to the newest model, right? So like, if you sold your AI back, I mean, like if you sold your AI bags in January, you're correct, right? But you weren't correct for the right reason. You're correct because like Solana just became like a shit show. But if you sold your AI bags based on the thesis that like, oh, DeepSeek is out and it's like gonna ruin everything, bro, like this is bullish for agents and teams that actually know what the fuck they're doing because they're just gonna swap the actual API key to like a new up to date model that's actually just gonna use better intelligence for a better product output. It's super simple to change a model for an agent.
Yeah, I think like there was one aspect of it which was like people were worried that Nvidia has become such a big part of the market at large, especially now that we're correlated TradFi. I did understand that argument, and like systemic like DeepSeek if it's really changing the game in China, like China's so scary, blah blah blah. But I absolutely agree with you. Like I think in general, like the market is generally kind of like a function of liquidity, like global liquidity. And when you see the mass extraction events happening, especially like Trump and Melania and other stuff happen that just mess with everything. Stuff like the DeepSeek news. It feels like it just gives the market an excuse to do what it wanted to do anyway because it was worried a little bit and it was feeling tight on the liquidity and it wanted to correct or whatever. So yeah, I absolutely agree on that front. What do you feel about Hyperliquid? The relative strength that we're seeing in Hyperliquid with all this actually going on.
I mean, Hyperliquid has very unique tokenomics. There's no other, the only project that's closest to Hyperliquid in terms of like tokenomics is Bitcoin, in my opinion. Everything else is insiders. Everything else has like, ECA garbage, right? Like, there's always insiders in every single coin, right? There's insiders for the ETH ICO, right? So what you see these guys do is that they've product market fit as a perp dex, and now they're going to create a chain, right? They're quick to execute, and then they're using their own revenue from the perp dex because these guys already made money. They're just doing it for the game, right? And they're just TWAPing their token, right? So the reason why Hype has so much strength is because these guys don't give a fuck and they're just max bidding themselves because they're going long in themselves.
Yeah, no, I think we've seen a lot of tokens try to do this buyback thing, and it's like nobody necessarily wants the product that much or likes the token that much, and they just happen to like all the sliders are all the way to the max for Hyperliquid. It's like everybody actually wants the product, everybody actually likes the team, and then the buyback is like on fucking steroids, right? So it's just like it's like yeah, buybacks in general is it bullish? Like was it for a lot of projects? Not really, you know what I mean? But for Hyperliquid, it's just different because that's just one piece of the picture. It's not even the whole thing, I just want to remind you guys are welcome to come up as speakers if people want to talk about the market or whatever. You have your questions for Neko, feel free to request, especially Hypio people, not projects that want to jump on the space. Yeah, so what else can we talk about? How do you feel with the market in general, the outlook, or if you have anything to say? Yeah.
Yeah. So how I feel about the market is, I mean, I think AI is going to come back. I think crypto AI is the largest narrative of 2025. I know it was like a bit of a meme thread guy and Frank were saying back in like late 2024 when they were like trying to sell your bags on you. So sell on your head. But I think it's a long-term narrative. I think we've only seen the first ending of like this agent cycle, honestly. And, the next winners are either going to be like the strongest rebounders we've seen in the market, which is like probably ARK. ARK is like the only strongest like rebounder, right? From like the previous iteration of agents and AI infra. And like the next wave of new AI infra and agents that are going to do super well are like these new tokens, like not financial advice, right? Manage your own risk. But, respectfully, I think like Neko has opportunity to capture that and be, if not the leading leading AI agent play on top of Hyperliquid, right? Because if you look at all the different Hyperliquid plays, I mean, I know like the farm team is cool. Like I know she's cracked, right? But Vapor's kind of garbage. Fly, I respect real builders, but like Fly, respectfully, is just like a natural language interface attached to Hyperliquid API. It's not that advanced of a product. Hedgewater is not even like an AI project. It's just a DAO that's investing into AI projects on Hyperliquid. So like the appetite for like a proper real AI agent product that's solving a real problem and providing a good solution is is there, right? There's a blue ocean market opportunity for Neko to just essentially absorb all that liquidity and all that attention and mind share.
I absolutely agree, and I want to welcome the guys who just popped up. Any questions they have? But on that note, maybe they have thoughts on this, or you want to reply first. One project that I thought was interesting. This is just me as a person that I thought was always interesting. Is Render on Sol. I don't know how much you ever got into it, whether you think it's nonsense or what. To me, that was one of those projects pre Hyperliquid. Like I've always been attracted to like teams that are fucking for real. You know what I mean? Like they're building something that actually seems serious in the real world sense. It actually has a use. Yeah, I just wanted to take your thoughts on Render since you're very unfiltered about other projects. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Render's a good project. I think it's like the season zero of like crypto AI, right? So you had like Tau, you had Render, you had IONET, and that was like all like 2024 or 2023, 2024. And then like season one is like all this like AI agent infra, like AI-CCZ, virtuals, ARC, AXBT, etc. That's like season one. Season two is Neko, right? But like season two will also be other things like maybe Axie Jimmy as well. Codex, I know the team at Codex that they're actually like really good builders. They're from like the Phantom days as well. They have like a really good ML team as well. I respect those guys a lot. And I think like more like AI infra that we've seen been building since like 2022, 2021 are going to TGE sometime in 2025, right? We'll see if they have like shit tokenomics, right? Because like, I mean, most of these like VC backed projects have like terrible charts, right? Because they are all just like looking for like an exit liquidity event, right? Based on TGE, like they kind of like just clean their hands after they TGE and they just like kind of move on to the next thing. Story, respectfully, right? I do think Story's cool, but like, yeah, I mean, the IP chart's fucking horrendous right now. But that's just kind of like how it's going right now. All the price discovery is happening in the private markets and not happening in public markets on spot. And that's why you see so many down only charts.
Yeah, that's a great point. You mentioned it before this farm. Just want to say I absolutely agree. Farm is one of the only AI agent projects other than Neko that I thought is pretty interesting. We're doing a collab with them. I believe that more details will be announced tomorrow, if I'm not wrong. Super cool team. Felt the same way I did with you, man. Like talking with them, just kindred spirits, and they're trying to build something really cool. And I'm super excited. Just between Neko and Farm, and there are other AI agent projects. Like I said, they're not all like fucking nonsense, but there's going to be others. You know what I mean? It's nice to see Hyperliquid at least like right at basically the very early stages of the ecosystem already has some really sincere, smart, cool builders that get it. Yeah, I want to open up to Tricks and then Demi. Anything you guys want to say related to our thing or any questions you have? What's up,
Yeah, it's incredible, man. I can tell that you get it. I can tell that you understand like the whole market and everything. Like, obviously, you're like a low key guy. You've only got 600 followers, so you must have been doing some shit under the radar to have all that knowledge. I can tell you get it. You understand the ecosystem. You know how to trade. Like, so yeah, it seemed like a good fit to launch a project like this. Like solid fucking AI knowledge as well. So I don't know. Can you talk more about the token itself? We didn't really even get into the token, like the launch plan. Have you got dates set up? Have you got like tokenomics? I'm interested.
He did say sometime in the next few weeks.
But no fixed date though. Just yeah, sometime soon.
Yeah. So I can talk a bit more about the tokenomics, right? So based off of Age Pump, right, we seeded like 150K in liquidity, and we got like roughly like 83.52% of the supply after we bonded effectively. Once we did the Genesis event, Loracle used like I think like roughly like 15% for HIP2. So now we're at like 65.2, something like that, right? Airdropping 33% to like the community, 50% will be for the dev team. And then the remaining supply is like for treasury and like the agent supply, and then we'll use that for market makers as well as different KOLs and like actually bootstrapping the agents on wallet as well.
Wow. So you have a lot of the supply already locked up, like a lot, high percent. That's perfect actually. And you got some liquidity to work with. 150K is good starting stack really. As a start, do you talk to exchanges or anything like that yet?
Yeah. I'm probably looking to get Ox Fund. Pretty close with the team there. Just want to showcase that we have like good volume, good mind share, and then I'll speak to Neko about getting listed. And then other exchanges, right? Probably looking at like Q3, Q4. for like maybe like OKX or Bybit.
Because it's on
We'll
chain Binance already. Like, you know, what
I
else?
mean, yeah, that's one thing, right? Like that's why we chose like Hyperliquid, right? So like, I mean, I really don't think we need that many other exchange listings outside of Hyperliquid itself, right? Especially if we can get Neko on Strictlist and get perps for Neko. I think that can facilitate the demand, but like, I do understand that the game is to get on other exchanges as well.
Yeah, but yeah, like you say, Hyperliquid's there. Like it's got everything. It's got liquidity. It's got mind share. Like there's enough people that will fucking trade it if there's a good reason to trade it. If there's volume. So yeah, I'm fired up, man. Like the fact that why did you choose Hypio to drop the token to?
I chose Hypio because I'm like a bit of a schizo myself, right? I really fuck with the community vibes. I mean, before the Hypio PFP, right? I was a schizo poster. Right.
Yeah,
I really fuck
I have that, man. I love the schizo poster. That's one of my
yeah,
favorite.
yeah, schizo posters are hard. Yeah, and like I really fucked with Black's energy. And like he's actually curated a very good culture for Hypio, right? It's like NFT 2021 vibes, but like with the anti-culture kind of movement that's going on right now. And I'm pretty based if I say so myself. So that's why I fuck with Hypio so much.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting because that's a good amount of supply, and I know for a fact Hypios are not selling. Like, then if anything, they'll probably buy more. So yeah, it could
Bro,
be.
we're blacklisting, bro. If you cheat this and it doesn't go well, like you're blacklisted forever, dog. I'm telling everybody, like, I'm spiteful, man. Like, if you fuck this up, I'm just kidding, but maybe I'm not kidding though.
No, I'm not selling anything from Hypio airdrops. Never. Like, they just stay in the wallet.
Wait, I do got a question for Nito.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be launched EVM as well? Like, did the EVM goes live?
Yeah. So for liquidity on EVM itself, I'm gonna see which AMM is gonna win, right? Because I know there's gonna be two AMMs. I know there's Hyperswap and Kitten Swap as well. Hyperswap is UniV3. Kitten Swap is like an airdrop fork essentially. So I'm just gonna let them, duke it out and see who gets the most attention, liquidity, volume in terms of AMMs, and then we'll look to get Neko on HyperEVM as well.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah, what DJ Trick said, you know your shit about AI, like hella. And I do actually want to point out something that's kind of off topic, but on topic. February 3rd is when BTC dominance topped, and I'm actually looking for a hype or BTC/hype pair. Does that exist on TradingView? Does anyone know?
Yeah, it does. You can make it. Yeah, you just put
Yeah,
the
I mean,
slash.
Hanson is like full posting it all the time.
Dude, Hype ETH and Hype BTC are both really nice charts, but Hype ETH is a crazy chart, dude. Like,
Oh, okay.
it's really, really nice. But yeah, you can just put the ticker in, then put a slash, then put another ticker in. It'll generate it for you. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about Neko all the time. I'm interested to hear, other people and also other people who want to come on and talk. We're probably going to do the space for another like 15 minutes or so. So anybody else who wants to come up and just shoot the shit with us or anything else you guys want to talk about, what you guys are up to in the markets, anybody. So who wants to go?
I'm curious. I have a question for the two audience speakers. What do you guys see? I guess like what do you guys want from a product? What do you guys want from a token where you actually like develop conviction in?
I'd like to see a good chart, honestly. The tech is the tech, like, but everything's fucking meme and an attention economy. So yeah, if the chart's good, then that's probably the most important thing, guys. Like, just being real with you. But yeah, obviously, if the product makes money, then it's easier to make the chart good. So if you're making money somehow from what you're doing, or making the holders, helping them get money, then
Okay, I think you were saying they'd take bips from the vaults, right? You're taking some bips from the vaults, Varden?
Yeah. We're gonna be taking bips from the vaults and bips from all of the assets that are traded via Neko, as well as the tokens launched via Neko too. And then we're gonna use that for token buybacks on the Neko token itself. And I wanted to go back to like your point, like way back when, around like why other like buybacks and burns don't work for other projects, is because they just aren't using enough of their revenue to do buybacks and burns. Like Hyperliquid, for example, like, I mean, these guys are fucking raking in profit, right? Like a shit ton of money revenue wise. And then they're just like using, I think like majority, if not all of it, to buy back their tokens. So that's why the hype chart is so strong.
What's up, AG? Do you have any questions? Root, what's up, bro?
Yo, what up, what up, what up? Yo, I got serious question. Hey, yo, rardedd, bro, you a technicality motherfucker. I like you, but you need to like tell me like I'm 5 and shit. What we gonna do with this coin? Hypio said I'm already blacklisted, so I don't give a shit what he says. I'm already blacklisted, so that's all good, bro. But tell for some people in the crowd like me, I was like, he says LLM. I was like, what kind of M&Ms he's eating? And he said, yeah, the DeepSeek. I know a little bit about DeepSeek. I know a little bit about like the coding and shit. I'm a junior developer, bro, but I ain't never heard speak you like that shit before. Please dumb it down like I'm 5 and 30 seconds. Thank you very much. And I'm gonna like be relaxed then after that. Thank you, Reddit.
Yeah, I got you, bro. So what you can do with the actual Neko token itself, I'm still structuring it right now, but I'll drip feed a bit more alpha. We're looking to basically use the Neko token to be burned to actually generate a referral code for the Neko agent itself. So then you can actually get, fee share on like, sharing your referral code and like having people use the agent too. So to dumb it down simply, you burn Neko, right? And then you get your own referral code. You share your referral code to your friends. They use your referral code, and then you make money as well.
But if I don't have friends, I will not do that.
If
You gotta find some friends, Root, bro. Come on.
Bro, you host the space. Stop yapping.
Bro, Root's...
Oh, shit. Ah, he knows. Okay, he got me.
All right, let's see what AG has. Thank you, Root. What any questions, AG, or anything you want to say?
No, I was gonna speak to the just talking about he asked a question to DJ and Demi, just like what people want to see, and they everybody's talking about the charts and stuff, but I want to see when the EVM goes live and stuff, like just want to see you guys just keep building and stuff, because obviously like there's a lot of hype narrative around the EVM going live. And then once like we saw it with abstract and shit, like there's all this hype beforehand, and then once when it goes live, all of a sudden people they stop building. And I know just from talking to you,
Did they ever start, bro?
I mean, they started to extract some value. I mean, that's what people do, is they try to extract the value until the hype is gone, and then they move on. But it sounds to me like you have a really good plan, and you're really passionate about AI and stuff. So I'm really excited to see what you guys build. Is your your agent, like is the plans behind it like to help you to like trade, or like what is it? I'm very new to Neko and stuff, so yeah, just a little insights, and I kind of joined a bit late.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so the whole purpose for Neko, two core objectives, so I'll reiterate this point, is to, I guess, like to take one step back, right? Is that we want Neko to be the moonshot, but for Hyperliquid using AI, right? And like what Moonshot did for Solana is that it helped on-ramp or onboard like a lot of users onto like the Solana meme ecosystem, right? But then using agentic workflows, you can actually automate more processes beyond just like meme coin trading, right? And this can be, providing liquidity, arbitrage. So we essentially want to distribute Hyperliquid and HyperEVM products to our broader user base. And then we want to accelerate the development of the HyperEVM DeFi ecosystem using agents that can do, arbitrage, liquidations on like, lending and borrowing protocols, CDP protocols, to overall make the markets more capital efficient.
I do have one question. Can I ask you, like, why do you think Hyperliquid is better than Solana to build on?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. So one reason why Hyperliquid is better to build on Solana, for AI specifically, is that I dropped like a little blog post about this on the Neko account earlier, like last week. But basically, with Solana, they don't have a culture of verifying smart contracts, right? Because they've just been like closed source for a while, and this is just kind of how they operate. So if they don't have an API endpoint suite that the agents can hit, then your agent, like your AI agent, can't interface with it at all, right? And like EVM, like if you don't verify your smart contracts as an EVM dev, you're retarded. Like you're not a good dev if you don't do that, right? So that's one core reason why we chose that. Another reason is that, I feel like that's the most important reason in terms of AI, and like why Hyperliquid specifically is because, Jeff and Julian, these guys execute. They don't take, they don't really give a fuck about the timeline. They don't give a fuck about yaps. They just kind of put their heads down and build. And when you choose an ecosystem to build, it's kind of like taking a bet, like an investment decision of not like only money, but your own team's bandwidth and compute respectively. So it's like, what is the best team to take a bet on as like a foundation, right? You have Bearchain, you have Monad, you have Abstract, you have Mega ETH, etc., right? And I'm willing to put my money on Jeff and Julian.
Yeah, that's solid. The thesis is clear.
So if I were, because I have a DAO and I've had a DAO for a while, and we have we moved to Arbitrum back from like BSC along back in the shitcoin days and stuff, and I could use Neko to help like manage my treasury and like do things like that.
Yeah, that's correct. If you want to do like yield farming, yeah, you can essentially deposit into different vaults with different like risk parameters, right? You could choose like something like lower risk, right? Like a stable farm, like using FEUSD, or like using like the LSTs on Hype, or you could do something like a bit more degenerate, right? If you want to be like more risk on with like a portion of your treasury capital, where like you can take like a percentage of it and like go into like a loop leverage like HLP vault and then compound that back into like HLP or some shit like that, right? Or we're speaking with like the HyperQuant team. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but I'm having a call with them pretty soon. These guys are actually pretty smart. They've actually built out like some proprietary like trading models for Hype already. So we're going to talk about like tapping into their models to actually have agents trade for you as well.
Yeah, that would be that, because that's one of the biggest things, is because we were a small DAO and stuff, so it's like you really got to have people on their shit, and doing constantly. I mean, you know how it was, and especially the last market. And now this market, it's like amplified 100 times, where it's like you can't take your eyes off the chart, especially with like the Solana shitcoin, casino. So it's like if you guys can go and create something, and especially towards Hype, which I believe will bring a lot more high quality projects. Like obviously we've seen what has happened over the past few days and few weeks with Sol, like just been complete bullshit after bullshit, that is launched. I would love to have some, move my DAO over to Hyperliquid, and then, just have an opportunity to allow to build off that ecosystem. So I'll if it's all good, we'll be in touch. I'll shoot you a follow, and oh, you already follow me. Nice. Okay. Yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate you answering these questions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, always happy to yap. And like anyone in the audience, like feel free to DM me. I'm always responding to my DMs. So if you just want to ask me about anything, if you want to ask me about like when airdrop, when Snapchat, when listing, I'll tell you to fuck off. But like all in good fun.
Yeah, facts. I had a question. Said that me might have something to say too. Well, one question I had was, we talked a lot about the interfacing as far as DeFi AI. I still don't know how to fucking say it, DeFi AI, whatever. It's just weird. But as far as, I assume there's going to be the LLM component, you're fine tuning a model. Is Neko going to potentially be like something that I replace my use of Claude with? Or do you see that use at all? And if there is there a cost? And how does all that work?
What do you use Claude for?
Like general, like generating text and like somebody's asking it stuff, like give me examples of this. General LLM stuff, not like necessarily for coding.
Yeah, no, for sure. So
like a better Google kind of sometimes.
Yeah, it'll be fine tuned to HyperEVM, specifically like on-chain metrics, DAO proposals, off-chain data, on-chain data, respectively. That's how we're gonna fine tune the model. I'm not gonna leak the sauce on like how we're actually fine tuning it, respectively, because that's where the alpha is, right? But like if you want to use like Neko chat and just like ask about like, hey, like what's like the TVL like, or like what's the volume, or like what are the most promising protocols on HyperEVM right now based off of like on-chain metrics, you can ask those questions in Neko chat and it'll give you responses.
Awesome. Demi, did you have something?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say, like you said, how people want to see like people building on Hyperliquid and what to expect. Like honestly, to AG's point, since Hyperliquid is the new blockchain, people are gonna try to build a bunch of vaporware. I mean, you saw it last cycle with like coins like Tezos that was in top 10. Bro, Tezos is like fucking top 500 right now. So as long as you're fucking building something legit and you have an online presence like you're doing right now with Spaces and letting the people know we're informed, I think that's a huge step forward. And it's just literally about just like fucking building cool shit, and meeting cool people. And what you got going on right now is like literally top tier. I mean, I know Hypio man wouldn't collab with anybody that's like halfway retarded, but full retarded, you know?
No, appreciate you. Yeah, no. I am full retarded and schizo. And yeah, like I'd also be curious to hear you guys' take on like capturing mindshare, right? Because some of you guys have like much larger accounts than myself. And I think that's definitely a weak point for Neko and like my own personal branding as well. So like, what do you guys do in terms of just like, getting in people's timelines more? Because that's one thing that I mean, like, I have like the right people like backing and behind Neko right now already, but like, I want to get it into like, a wider POV, right? Because we're still like super low key. Like, not too many people still know about Neko still.
I think you're doing a great job right now, to be honest. Like, I know it's kind of a grind, but like getting on these spaces and just allowing for people to hear you talk, to me, that's huge. Like, I could hear you're first off genuine. You're very intellectual. Like, you just, it's a grind at the end of the day, unless you want to, go the stupid route where you just post what everybody is posting about. Like, obviously we see Cato and stuff, which who knows might end up being a good system. I don't know. I don't haven't done too much. I tried to yap a few times. Dumbest fucking decision I ever made. But like, if you don't follow the trends and the narratives, it's all a fucking echo chamber. It's all a Web3 circle jerk. So to me, keep building, keep relaying your ideas and talk to people, and the real people that really want to build and or be a part of something that's building, they're gonna follow you. And I think what you're doing now is great. We'll see, how this next couple months goes with like the rotation to Hyperliquid and the EVMs and stuff, and we'll see, KOLs, and it's a double-edged sword. You almost like you kind of need some KOLs, and God, I wouldn't consider myself a KOL. I'm not a huge fan of them, but it's almost like a double-edged sword. You kind of need them to push your agenda so you can get to the right eyes. Yeah, to me, I would just keep doing what you're doing, keep educating. People that really support that are going to support that.
So I got another question, bro. Like for real. Like, what do you see yourself in like a year or so too, bro? When everything is like set up and everything, what is your vision in total of the whole coin? Like, if you say, "Hey, I get this done," I'm really proud at that day. I'm happy that I like bless people around me and myself. I just want to know about the. I know you're an entrepreneur. I know you're smart. I know you do your shit, but just tell me, bro. If you say, "Hey, bro, support me because you can support me," do it. If you're going to zero, I'm happy to go to zero with you. You understand? That's what I'm saying right now. Like, I'm asking you for real.
Yeah. No, the long-term vision with Neko is essentially, when people talk about like the modular stack, right? Like they talk about like all the different components of a blockchain. I essentially want to create a new modular component within the execution layer. And this would be like the agentic execution layer, right? And I want a product market fit on top of HyperEVM and Hyperliquid with this, right? So I want Neko to essentially become AI infrastructure within HyperEVM that'll accelerate the development and the productivity of HyperEVM itself, and just streamlining, user intents to tap into like the most optimal outputs for the end user. So I want Neko to become like the agentic execution environment for HyperEVM.
So you wanna make it more streamlined. You wanna make it slow, and you wanna be the oil in the mechanic of the car, correct? Like in simple,
Yes.
right?
Yes. We want to be the
Awesome.
oil.
Thanks, my brother.
We got MP here. MP knows that we got love for her because she's not wearing Hypio PFP, and we let her up in the Hypio space. So, we'd love to hear what she has to say.
I switched it when I got here.
It didn't on my screen. Okay, you did now. Okay.
I switched it the minute I got here. I came up because I feel like a lot of people are actually more anti-KOL than people realize. And what's great about that is that means that people forget to ask, because the reality is a great way to leverage your network is to if you have a project, drop a person a DM if that's somebody has good mindshare or networking, and just be like, sometimes if you work it out in advance, like send them one message, "Hey, do you mind if I drop sometimes, because I know your timeline's a fucking clusterfuck," And usually, if they're trying to build with you, they'll be like, yeah, no problem. And then whenever you get a moment, drop some tweets that you've done in the day that you'd like to see if you can get more attention on, that they can raise up. Ask them to quote tweet to draw more attention to it. And then even if you don't see a whole bunch of retweets because they're spreading them out on the algorithm, they might be dropping it in the one of 700 group chats they might be in, even though they lost their larger accounts, hypothetically. So, but the thing is leveraging your network when you have really great people around you to do things that other KOLs demand to get paid for is a really great way to get some eyes on your project.
No, that's super helpful. Thank you, MP.
And there's KOLs, then there's KOLs, right? Everyone's a fucking KOL at the end of the day. Like, everyone got their own sphere of influence and network. So
I want to cut anybody that calls me a KOL. I just want to say I would cut.
Sorry?
but yeah, if you're building, you want to fucking build. Like, if you're building a product, don't get too wrapped up in the marketing. Just like make sure you like send your shit to good people who do spend their time networking and pushing that stuff. Maybe look at Vector as well. Look at their like case study of them, how they did their marketing. That was a good product. That was the key for them. They had a good product that worked when they put it to people, and they had a good referral scheme, and they got that referral scheme to the right people. So yeah, that might be one way to just simplify marketing for this.
Vector on a Hyperliquid or a different project?
No. Vector app on Solana, like trading app.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like meme trade app. But they had a really good referral system, and they had a really clean product when they launched. I think that helped them, and they blew up.
And a branding kit, and this goes to all the Hyperliquid builders. I reached out to Hypio the other day. Having a branding kit where people can easily right-click slave things so that they can add it to art and things that they want to do to help boost you, or put it in their own tweets, is super helpful. And having that available if somebody takes the time to reach out, because basically they're just offering to do free marketing for you at any time. So putting a branding kit together is a really good idea.
Yeah, got it.
Rardedd sent me his branding kit before this, and it's pretty good.
Appreciate you. Yeah, our brand designers are pretty good. Yeah, I'll add those to the docs when we make those public.
If you shoot me some, I'll put them in some things too.
Yeah, I'll DM you the zip file. It's not a phishing link. I promise.
Yo, bro, I ain't that, like, bro, you cannot say that on Spaces, on record, bro. Like, hey, man, it's not efficient.
They let you speak out loud on Spaces all the time. That means you can say anything you want if they let you have.
Empress, breathe in, breathe out.
All right, guys. Let's not get hot in here, okay? Demi, I want to put you on the spot because for our last moment of the stage, because we're going to wrap it up. Demi's got me hyped for OMB Black Eyes Mint. And my question for Demi, you got to tell me right now, if you're going to add a trade type, what would it be? It has to be a fire one, or else we don't get down to space.
They're on the spot, fucking like this, dude.
Yeah.
A trade to Hypio?
Yeah.
Galahorn. I think
you already said that, but that's a pretty good one.
I think that'd be fire, or even like a master sword, dude. Something simple.
Yeah. All right, let's let Rardedd give us some final words to close this out. Thank you guys for all coming, Rardedd, Neko, and all our speakers. It's been a lot of fun, and everybody who listened. Yeah, Rardedd, what do you got for us?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the time today, Black. Thank you for everyone that attended the the space today. Really appreciate the time. And yeah, final things is more airdrop announcements this week. I'm sure a lot of Hypios are HL interest too, so they'll get even more allocation. Be on the lookout for that. And then, we'll be dropping our landing page, our docs pretty soon as well. The product is coming very soon, as well as spot listing. Just let us cook a little bit more. Just give us a bit more time, and just want to make sure that it's a good product. It's a good chart as well. Looking to lock in some of these market makers. So let me cook on that front. I appreciate your guys' patience.
Thanks for coming in. Final words. Tricks, give us some little thing to go.
You put me on the spot now. I'm high as well, so
I gotta keep you guys ready to go at any time. If you all stay ready.
Really quick though. Just I'm talking to the Hypios. There's like 100 people here listening. So if you got a Hypio, then make sure this is not an airdrop that you fade, and like not just hold it but promote it and push it, because this is our chance to make something massive for Hypios. Like, could be big, like based on everything that's been talked about today. So yeah, that's it really. Thanks everyone.
Thank you guys.
Fired up.
Just push that snap.
Fired up, honestly, Black. I'm fired up about Hypio. It's like too much fired
Just
up. Like,
push that Snapchat a little bit more back. I'm kind of new here. I need that shit.
Yeah, I want to say like one last thing just to build upon like DJ's point is that like one reason why we did such a large allocation to Hypio is because, you know, Hyperliquid and like Hyperliquid ecosystem projects need like a standout airdrop, right? If they get a standout airdrop of like an insane, like, you know, airdrop allocation and like insane PA, obviously market is going to decide, right? But if that occurs, right, that is not only going to attract more mindshare and attention within the Hyperliquid eco, but it's also going to attract more people outside of the Hyperliquid eco as well to be like, what the fuck? What's going on with this Hypio stuff? Like these guys are getting like an insane airdrop allocation for like an insane project, right? We want to be like the case study of like why not financial advice, right? I mean, I think everyone here already has a Hypio, right? But like why you should buy a Hypio and get, you know, essentially beta exposure to the entire Hyperliquid and HyperEVM ecosystem because you'll get airdrops like Neko, right? That's like one of the reasons why we did it like that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Since we're going to close it out here. Rardedd, like not just us, like you're not just airdropping to us, it's also the stakers, people who are staking hype, and you know, post hype airdrop, which is literally like the best airdrop of all time, basically. And like TBD, just how crazy it's going to be as far as where the token's going to go. But a lot of people, like, you know, they're like, oh, I missed it. You know what I mean? I think Rardedd, you have a great point there where it's like, okay, like if we see another airdrop happen, that like, yeah, of course, it's a lot of it's going to us, which is awesome, and we love it. We're super excited, but it's not just to us; it's also going to the eco and to other stakeholders in the community. And it's going to make a lot of noise if this cooks. You know what I mean? So like, I wish you the best of luck, Rardedd. I really hope that it goes well. You know, for me, I'm probably going to be a buyer, not a seller, when the thing comes. And I hope people who are excited about it feel the same. You don't have to, you know, everybody's their own man, but no, this is, you know, a real project, real builders, people sincerely, you know, taking their shit serious and building Hyperliquid is what we want. And it's going to make noise, and it is going to make people come and be like, oh, maybe Hyperliquid isn't done. You know, there's the rumored second hype airdrop coming, but until that comes, you know, when that comes, it's going to be the exact same thing, which is going to be people like, oh my God, I missed it again. You know what I mean? So it's like, there is like really like, it's hard to overstate how huge it is where an airdrop cooks for an eco. And it just reminds people like, okay, wow, like this is really a place where I can go and do stuff and get rewarded. And personally, I think Neko, not even just like airdropping to us, you know what I mean? I think just airdrops in general and protocols in general, I think it could be the first of a lot of really, you know, interesting cooks for people who, you know, decide like, oh, there's something going on here. So I'm super excited about it. Rardedd, thank you guys. Thank you all our speakers for coming on. We're probably going to do another space in a couple of days with another protocol. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, congrats to everybody who stuck through all this. I hope you learned a lot, and we're super excited for Neko to drop. Much love, guys. We're going to call the space here. Talk to you guys later.